Okay, okay. Y'all ain't ready? Oh, y'all ain't ready to get it.
At the end of every unit, your teacher has a chance to teach a lesson about other lessons that constitute hints. But what do you suppose our teacher has to do? He skips the lesson and makes a presenter LEQ. Elocution means historical evidence, reason to corroborate and advance a complex thesis that Dr. John P. Q. Irish would admire. Woo! 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 Then we drop a screencast single that is fire!
Students create screencast for you to like, subscribe, and share. We know you've had all the John Green and Steve Harmeyer you can bear.
And we had the most views by 10 p.m. Eastern. On the fifth day, we earned 500 bonus points, which virtually guarantees a A. Without much more fanfare or ado, we present our digital LEQ!
Hello. Our project was Gender Roles and Family Relations in Sub-Saharan Africa and East Asia between 1850 and 2000 by me, Lauren Awkward,
Sasha Carter,
Naya French,
and Nicole A. Our topic was to analyze similarities and differences in gender roles and family relations during the period circa 1850 to 2000 in East Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. So our thesis was the gender roles and family relations of Sub-Saharan Africa and East Asia are believed to be similar because of the roles of textile work and care work for women being constant both through regions. However, in Sub-Saharan Africa, women's roles were increasing, but the number of families in East Asia were decreasing. Family was believed to be more important in Sub-Saharan Africa than in East Asia. Therefore, their family relations and gender roles in East Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa were more different than similar.
For our contextualization, we said that gender roles are the roles or behavior learned by a person as appropriate to their gender. These are normally determined by the prevailing cultural norms. These roles are usually determined by religious, societal, or cultural norms. And because of this, women were customarily held to a lower standard than men. Over time, these gender roles evolved and women became more important in some and most societies. In Sub-Saharan Africa, gender roles frequently influence family relations, which are the connections between two people or entities by blood or marriage.
The similarities between these two places were females got jobs in production industry while doing things such as textile manufacturing. As we went on, females did not want the role of being the caretaker, and they started to fight for women's right. It was a woman's duty to be the caregiver because of these natural maternal skills. East Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa men were in polygamy marriages.
The differences were East Asia didn't have family-originated customs, but rather, the women were treated as servants towards their husbands and children. Furthermore, the beauty custom decided their fate in society. In Sub-Saharan Africa, women did pottery and textile work. Even though a man's job was considered more important than a woman's, both roles were necessary in the production industry. However, marriage and family was more important to Africans because it was a sense of security. So right here is our primary sources. The first is a quote which says, "Women in China are kept in ignorance. Among the wealthy they live in pampered idleness. Among the poor, their lot is one of drudgery. Children are born to them and committed to their care." So this shows that the women in China could not be educated and their main job was to care for their children and do house chores. Next, you see that there's a picture, and in the picture there are 3 African men sitting while 2 women are working, and one of the women is carrying a child. And the last quote says that women are one of Africa's hidden growth reserves, providing most of all the region's labor, but their productivity is hampered by widespread inequality in education and access. Thus, gender equality can be a potent force for accelerated poverty production. So this quote shows a contrast between the women in Africa versus the women in China. Women in Africa and China were hard workers, laborers, and didn't get the respect they deserved. But women in Africa had little recognition, unlike women in China. Our secondary sources. So this is a long quote. Basically, it's showing how ancestry was important to the Chinese families, and it was stated that this ancestry was a part of their everyday life in the form of filial piety, which is basically their required children or grandchildren to respect and care for their parents or grandparents. And the last quote says, the societal admiration of female heroines such as these has helped justify the actions of the women who managed successfully to define new roles for themselves alongside men. So this shows that women in China and Japan moved on from the gender role of being their husband's servants by creating new roles for themselves. The Asian society noticed and admired the women for creating roles that could enable them to do more alongside the man's role.
And for our theme analysis, the first theme that correlated with our presentation was social interactions and organization. The development of social movement shows the contrast and improvement in how women became more included and involved in society and societal roles. And for our second theme, we chose cultural development and interactions. A woman's role in most cultures is to be the caregiver for their families. However, women in China and Japan created new roles for themselves, which enabled them to do more alongside a man's role, and they were admired by the Asian society because of it. Lastly, these are our sources.